so this is Buff Beauties 3 with IFBB Pro Sheronica Henton, and I've got only a couple people here, but that's okay. We got more hands-on training. I've been pro since 2014, going into my 4th Olympia for the 4th year since I've turned pro. I started with the NPC in 2013. I got my pro card in a year, and this is where I'm at today. So I do have experience in figure and physique and bodybuilding. I did figure in the Musclemania category, the Musclemania League when I was in Europe, and then I switched over to the NPC for women's physique. I also did bodybuilding in Musclemania. Never did bikini, but I've been in the industry long enough to know a little bit about what they're looking for. But it is a tougher category because there's so many. Actually, in all the categories today, the industry is growing in large, vast numbers every single year, and there's such a high caliber of athletes every year that you want to make sure that you're getting the right posing, taught, the right presentation to put on stage, because what's going to set you apart is you, as opposed to looking and being with the rest of the crowd. So I hope you guys have questions today, and we're going to start with the Q&A, and then we'll go into your individual posing and technique, and possibly bring you out into your posing, and therefore it's not such a copy of somebody else. Okay? All right, so let's start with questions. We got hair and makeup questions, suit, tanning, posing styles, what the judges are looking for, anything. Questions first one. Hi, Krista. Oh, and we have Derek Pinckney with Warrior Genetics Labs here as our vendor, and he's going to introduce himself as well. Come on.
Oh, okay. Hi, how y'all doing? I'm glad coming out to support Sheronica. Warrior Genetics Labs is strength equipment and strength gear. All I have out right now is the clothing, but I sell knee wraps, wrist wraps, knee sleeves, wrist sleeves, powerlifting belts, 3-ply belts, axles, anything you can do, powerlifting, strongman, bodybuilding, I have it. And it's in a more advanced style. Once you get it, more than likely it's gonna last for a while.
Cool,
right?
cool. So you can check him out, when we start posing and everything, if you guys want to check out his stuff, okay? So let's start with the questions, Q&A. Anything about me, like I said, the industry, please ask, because I know a lot, okay? Okay, so most the actual good makers will want you to talk to them about your suit and make your order at least 12 weeks out. A lot of suit sponsors, I work with sponsors. A lot of suit makers, they prefer you call them and make your order by a certain deadline, because a lot of them had deadlines for whenever your show is. So if your show is in June, their deadline for June suits may be like April or May. So you got to start searching early, and not necessarily getting a suit early, but just getting on that deadline, because a lot of them, after a certain deadline, they don't add any more people to that list, because suits, they hand make them. So it takes them a while, and if they've got 120 suits to make for June and July shows, then they need that deadline met. Also, with the suits, you get what you pay for. So just because it's crystallized out and it looks blingy and it looks nice, what's the quality of it? So you have the seam, you want to think about the seam line. How do they sew it together? Because something may look nice, but if it's not properly sewed, or the material that they use is really, really cheap, as you practice in the suit, as the more time goes by, it'll start to stretch. So guess what? You've got to take more off, get more taken off, get more taken off, and then when you get on stage, that suit is no longer looks brand new, because it's moving. I've seen suits where the inside of the seam is not sewed into the scrunchiness, so the actual lining is sticking out from the suit. That's horrible. You get what you pay for. So really, really, when you look at these suit makers, really see the quality of their suits. Go look at the reviews and see what the girls are saying, because I'm not saying a suit will make you lose a show, but judges pay attention to that like big time. And then you don't want to get on stage and feel uncomfortable in a suit because it doesn't fit right by the time you get on stage or anything. But most makers will adjust the suit as the months go by. A lot of them will send you just the basic, and then you send it back, and then they'll crystallize it closer to the show. Right now, I have a suit sponsor, Half Moon Designs. She kind of fell off the market. I don't know where she is, so I just got a new one. I'm working with Crystal Mayhem Designs now for the Olympia. So she took me in. She's like, oh, we got good enough time. And she's like, I'll sponsor you. But that's the thing. I've been with her for 3 years, and she just fell off the face of the map. I had to go to the next one, but I went and I looked at Crystal's designs to make sure, because I am very, very particular about my suits when it comes to Olympia. She's made yours? So she's making yours? Have you had one from her before?
Yeah, this is my first one.
Yeah, they look pretty, but I'm more worried about how she sews it, how it's gonna fit, how's it fit on the butt line, because you gotta say, I want a pro cut. Do you want like a suit is, you can go 100 miles talking about a suit because there's so many different cuts. In the NPC league, you know, you can get away with different cuts. In the amateur league, pro league, we get away with a lot. I ain't gonna lie, but there's one certain cut that fits your specific body. But the other leagues, I don't really know how they do their cuts. You got a pro cut, you got an amateur cut. I know one of my, Renee Paz, she has a pro cut that I really, really like, and that's what I've been using for the past couple years. So my suit sponsor was actually cutting them in that style because of the way my butt is shaped. Then you don't want it to be cut too low to where you're showing too much down there, but you want it to be low enough so that they can see your entire lower back. Does that make sense? Yeah. So all of that stuff matters. The color, I wouldn't, for you guys' color, I wouldn't go towards the pastels. I would go more towards the darker colors because it'll make you pop more. The pastels will be they'll fade into your skin more. You got to think about the tanning. The tanning is going to make it look a lot more dirtier. The darker colors, you don't have to worry about that. And then you can put more the brighter crystals on the outside. So think about all that when you're picking your suit. More questions, please.
How far out should you start your cut? Like cutting?
It all depends on if this is your first go around competing or if this is your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time. I can't even count on my fingers how many times I've competed anymore. So Olympia prep, I go in. I prep for a while. But regular season shows, maybe 8 to 12 weeks is all I need. I say for first time competitors, I would at least give yourself 16 weeks. That's just because you don't know how your body's gonna react to the diet. Your coach may have to change the diet. You may get sick, you know, it's all kind of things that'll happen. You may lose a bit of muscle. You may need to put some more muscle back on. It just depends on who you are, how your body reacts to whatever your coach is giving you as far as training and diet-wise. Now, I know with the Bikini League for NPC and IFBB, your national level judges and your IFBB judges, as far as bikini, they want you to have a little bit of muscle, but they're not looking for you to be dieted down. So if you do a 16-week prep and you notice within 6 weeks that you're just coming down and you're starting to get really, because you're gonna lose some muscle mass, period. But if you see yourself starting to look dieted down in 6 weeks and you still got 10 weeks to go, something's gotta change because that's not what they're looking for. Now, as far as the other leagues like the OPA and all that stuff, I don't know how they do that. I don't know what they look for, but I know bikini for NPC, they're not looking for a dieted look anymore. They just don't. Now, you're gonna be fairly lean and thin, you're gonna look good, but they don't want you to look dieted down. Does that make sense? Figure, they don't want them to look dieted down. They want them to have a nice size muscle, but they want it to be equal quality. But if you start a 16-week prep and you come down super fast and you hit a peak in the middle of your prep, then you started out too early. Does that make sense? That's a good question.